Hello everyone and welcome to the Motorsport UK Karting Esports Championship. In this show we're going to be going through who has qualified for the championship, which is going to be running throughout the course of next week. We're going to have the semi-finals on Monday and Tuesday, and then on Thursday we will have the live finals. All 3 of those days will be live streamed right here on Alpha Live. And to talk you through the action is going to be myself, Chris McCarthy, and Chaz Draycott. Chaz, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you, Chris. Very excited to see how everybody gets on in this series. Of course, we've had so much action already from qualifying, nearly 200 entries so far, which has been absolutely amazing. The reception it's received has been brilliant. And, well, obviously we're going to go through everything now for everybody so they know who's made it through. And I'm sure that everyone's going to be very excited to hear it.
Yeah, in fact, I think even better news. I think it's somewhere in excess of 300 drivers have tried to qualify. 160 have now made it through after 4 days of hot laps. Throughout the course of this week, from Monday through till Thursday, drivers have been on kartsim trying to set as many laps as they can. Those best laps have been put together, and across 3 classes, we now have 160 drivers about to battle it out for the first ever Motorsport UK Karting Esports Championship. So those 160 drivers, they've been divided into 3 classes. We have the Motorsport UK class, which is for license holders only and for ages 12 and over. Then we have the under 12 category, with license holders only, and then we have the open class, which is open to anyone around the world, but you have to be 12 and over to enter that as well. Now, Chaz, of course, you're a sim racer yourself, as well as a commentator. Some people will know Chaz from doing the Buckmore Park 24-hour in karting as well. So you're familiar with the track that they've been trying to qualify on, but also with esports as well. And it's been fantastic to see esports grow throughout the last couple of weeks, isn't it?
Oh yeah, certainly. I mean, with everything that's going on at the moment with COVID-19, of course, it's been the real opportunity for sim racing to come out of the woodwork and put on events like this. It's been amazing to see. Buckmore Park is not an easy circuit to drive. I mean, I had the pleasure of driving around it for the first time actually. Even though I did do the 24-hour last year, I didn't actually get the chance to have a go, to be honest, and it's the one thing I wanted to do. Went up there in early February and had a good entire day round there. I think we did about 5 hours in total. And it's really not easy in a real kart, and especially when you're in a sim as well. I mean, they're using the kart sim itself is based on R Factor, which has really, really good physics, some of the top in the industry. And to be honest, when you've not got the feel of the kart underneath you and you can't sort of feel the bumps and how it's behaving, it makes it more difficult than the real thing a lot of the time. So these guys have really had to adjust to this if they've not done sim racing before. And it's great to see that so many people have come and give it a go.
And the under 12 category, they have been using the rental carts. The other 2 categories have been using the senior X30 cart. You used the rental cart yourself, I believe, Chaz, when you went there. Have you now looked at the lap times the under 12s have done and realised you might be some way off them as well?
Oh, mate, they've made me look silly. I won't lie to you. I mean, I've driven it. Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's 5 hours, no improvement. Trust me. But they've been doing amazingly. They have really made a bit of an idiot of me, to be honest. But they're very very good at what they do, and I'm not. I'm getting old and I'm getting fat, mate. So I don't really help myself with getting in a car. But yeah, it's been amazing how close the times are as well. That's one of the main things, is just how close it is all the way down the field. And I'd probably be a good few seconds off any of them, to be honest with you. But it's a good thing it's them doing it and not me. I'm just going to sit in the commentary box and shout at them.
Well, although Chaz may be a few seconds off, I can tell you the drivers who have competed it's been extremely close, particularly in the Motorsport UK class and the Open class as well. Less than a second. Top 60 that have qualified through, and for some that have just missed out, they've missed out by thousands, if not hundreds of a second. So it has been extremely close out there. Now we've used the Buckmore Park circuit, we won't be going back there again throughout the course of the series. The semi-finals will be at GYG, and then we'll be off to PFI. So two fantastic circuits we're going to be using there, Chaz.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a real test of people's mettle around there, because at the end of the day, when you spend so many laps getting used to a circuit like Buckmore, and then you have to go over to GYG, and then once you've competed there and really put the time in again, you've got to completely reset everything and go over to PFI. So these guys are going to be really up against it. Of course, they're only within a few days of each other as well, so it's not like you get weeks and weeks to practice beforehand. You've really got to just get on it, get the laps in, and see whether you can shave those thousandths of a second off, because let's face it, they're the most important thing at the moment with these guys getting these times in.
Well, I'm sure the licence holders in the under 12s and the Motorsport UK class, a lot of them will particularly know PFI, I'm sure. GYG, perhaps if they've done the British Kart Championships, they may be familiar with that, or any other national series. Very challenging circuit. I've driven there a couple of times myself. Huge elevation changes, lots of fast sweeping corners. It's a track that really is split into two halves. The first half, very, very quick. The second half, very technical, very tight and twist. Lots of places to overtake. And then PFI, of course, it holds the British Kart Grand Prix. Everyone knows PFI. It's a fantastic circuit, huge straights around there, so a lot of chance to get in the toe, get some overtakes done, of course, into the two hairpins and Bobby Game Corner as well. It's got the bridge as well, which everyone loves. I think that's going to be a really good place to hold the final.
Oh yeah, certainly. I mean, it's going to put a right good challenge up to everybody. And of course, it does come back to the fact that with sim racing, you don't get the same feel all the time in these things. So even if you have driven around there millions of times, you never know when you get in the sim. There might be one little detail here or there that's not quite the same. Of course, these tracks are very accurate. They're incredibly accurate. But again, when you don't get that feeling underneath you of how low you are to the ground, what the kart's doing, it is going to be, it's like learning it all over again, I suppose. You've got to just sort of get used to picking up everything visually. So as with sim racing, as a lot of us do, you've got to sort of feel when the kart's getting away from you, feel when it's understeering, but you've got to do that visually. When you see the screen in front of you, you've got to pick everything up from visual cues. So it's going to be great to see who can adapt the best to that, especially with those that have got really big experience around these circuits as well.
And from your experience personally, I'm sure there's going to be some drivers out there, that may have had a go on some sims, but they might be diving into sim racing now for the first time. How different is it, when the lights go out and you're going down towards turn one for the first time in a sim race? How different does that feel?
It's quite crazy, really, because you still do get nervous about it. I mean, there's even in little fun leagues that I do on a lot of different sims, you still get nervous when you're sitting there on the grid waiting for the lights to go out, because you know that rather than just racing against AI or racing against any like computer generated any sort of opponents, you race against real people, and that's what makes it a bit more rewarding as well. If things go your way, there is real elation with it. It's crazy because you win a race and you genuinely do celebrate. And even if you get like a 10th place, if you're in a field that's as strong as we've got coming up, these guys will be celebrating those positions. And if you were just playing against AI at home on a controller, it wouldn't be the same. And that's the beauty of sim racing. It gets so immersive and gets you in there. And of course, you have the low points as well. If you make an accident, sorry, and you go off, put it in the wall, lose a load of places, or you get completely freight trained, as you see a lot of karters do in these scenarios. You get offline, people are going to come streaming past you if there's a big train of them. You get frustrated and you get angry about it. And it's the real sort of connection to the emotions that makes sim racing so great. And hopefully we're going to see more of the positives, of course, than the negatives for these guys. But hopefully we'll see that during these next few days.
And a lot of the professional drivers who have been doing sim racing over the last couple of weeks, they said they found that more nerve-wracking than actually racing. So that's quite an interesting thing to hear, isn't it? I guess when you're not, in the car or the cart and you've got that feel of it, and you got all your suit and your helmet on and everything, rather than sitting in your bedroom, say, in a sim. I can imagine that must feel a little bit more nerve-wracking.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I was in the VMO event the other day. Well, I say the other day, it was nearly a week ago now. It was last Sunday, and
Yes,
I was
yes.
talking to Paul O'Neill, who was racing with us, and he was having a complete meltdown. He was trying to drive the BMW touring car, and he was just having a meltdown. But he was loving it. He was getting involved and having a good laugh. Colin Turkington was in there. Some of the other British touring car drivers as well, like Bobby Thompson, James Gornall, who's moved up from the Mini Challenge, and they were really, really enjoying it. And they were saying the same thing. You really have to try hard and properly get on with it. They were sweating buckets racing out there, more than some of them do when they're in a real touring car. So, it's great to see that it poses that same challenge to the drivers that do it for a day job, essentially, and that they can get involved with people like us who can only sit and do it at home, I suppose.
I think the most interesting thing, we've seen it across other sim championships, but I'm particularly looking forward to it in karting now. We're going to see drivers that race in the British Kart Championships, that race over, in perhaps the Miami Euro Series, the Rotax Max Challenge over in Europe as well. And they're going to be competing against each other. We're going to have guys coming up from series like Club 100, Daniel Ricciardo series, and we're going to pull them all together now, and we're going to put them all in the sim and see who's the best. So it's going to be fantastic. We're going to have maybe some drivers that only race at club level as well, that perhaps don't have the budget yet to step up to do British Championships. When we put all these guys together, it's going to be really interesting to see who comes out on top. I think this is going to be a case, this esports championship, Chaz, the best driver is going to win.
Oh, definitely. And because, of course, they're all going to be in the same karts in each race that they go into, it really it negates any physical disadvantages that some of these drivers have. Of course, we're all human, we're all very different. And when it comes to karting, the slight weight difference or the slight sort of strength difference in what you can hold around a corner, it can make a difference. But now it's like a clean slate for everybody. They're going to be in the same karts, no physical disadvantages to anybody, and they can just do what they want to do from home. And of course, they've got their own setups as well at home with the wheel and pedals and whatever else they have. So they're used to their own equipment as well. It's not like they're jumping in a foreign kart that they don't know anything about, or it's a car that may be a bit down on power to someone else's. It's really, really going to be close. And I think that's obviously why we've seen that in the times. And when they're all out on track together, of course, like you say, people from all different levels, the racing's going to be amazing. It really is.
Yeah, I think, as you said, they're particularly having all on the same engine, all on the same chassis. There's not going to be that case of, oh, my engine wasn't really performing today, or maybe it's the chassis doesn't go well around this circuit, for example. I've used those excuses myself plenty of times, believe me.
Sure.
And those excuses go away at this point. So there's going to be drivers who have qualified now, practicing all weekend, I'm sure, ready for those semi-finals on Monday and Tuesday. So right, let's get it right into it then. First of all, before we go any further, I think we have to say a huge thanks to all the partners that have helped make this series happen. It was an idea that the guys from Alpha Live came up with just a couple of weeks ago, and since then they've been working flat out to get this all together. Motorsport UK, of course, their name is behind the series now. It's the official esports championship. Although this is a bit of an open, shall we say, that's going to be run over 3 days, there is going to be an official championship with a calendar being announced shortly. But the guys from kartsim, of course, who have helped us get this together, and Motorsport Games as well. We have to say a huge thanks to everyone for working together to make this championship possible. So how does it all work then? Right, we have 3 different classes. We have the Motorsport UK Open, which is for 12 and over, and it's open to anyone worldwide, whether you have a license or not. Then we have the under 12s. You have to be a license holder to enter that. And then we have, of course, the Motorsport UK class 12 and over, and you have a license to be able to race in that. That's how it works. 60 have gone through from the open class and the Motorsport UK class. They have been split into 3 different groups. Those groups will then race, and then the top 6 from those groups will qualify through. So we have 3 groups of 20. They will have qualifying in a race. The top 6 will automatically qualify, and then there'll be 2 extra spaces, which will be wildcards based on fastest laps in the races. That will leave 20 for the finals next Thursday. And then the under 12s, 39 drivers there have gone through. They'll be split into 2 different groups. Again, it will work very similar. We will then have the top 9 go through from each race with 2 wildcards spaces. And then we'll have the final, where it's essentially one race and best person wins, I guess. So the person who makes it across the line first is crowned champion. So it's great format. particularly for the semi-finals, Chaz, it kind of works like a repechage. People are used to. I wouldn't like to say they're used to racing in those, but people, will know that in those the top 6 go through. That could make the racing quite different. If you get into the top 6, do you just work together and push away, or are they going to start battling and maybe drag some more people in? So I think for the semis, qualifying is going to be crucial. For the finals, perhaps not so much.
Yeah, it's going to be quite focusing, because when you've got something where you're in a format where there's one position is more important than another, say like 6th or 7th, then these guys are really going to be scrapping for those 2 positions. Of course, everyone wants to be in 6th or higher. So when you've got the top 5 at the front, you may see them break away if any sort of fight breaks out for 6th position, and then anyone just fighting for that one place may get more and more desperate, because they know that the guys at front are getting away, and it's going to be a big gap back to them. So it could go either way, though. I mean, it could be completely bunched up all the way through. We could see the entire top 6 change lap after lap, race after race when we go through to the qualifiers. But I'm very excited to see how it all turns out and how people play the game, essentially, because you've got to think about all the mind games as well that go into this. It's not just a case of go flat out. You've got to really think about when you make your moves, where you're going to be coming into a final lap, because if you're going to be the guy chasing coming into a final lap, you may be at an advantage if you're not having to defend all the time. But it could work the other way around. It depends how good you are at defending. So, it's going to be great to see how people use their noggins in these races and get on with it.
Yep. So in terms of when the class is going to be racing, Motorsport UK and under 12s will be on Monday, and then the open class will be on Tuesday. So send your comments in, guys. Let us know who you're going to be for, and let's go through and see who's qualified, shall we? We're going to start with the Motorsport UK Open. So this was open to anyone out there, whether they had a license or not. They just have to be 12 and over, and they could compete from worldwide. We had 129 drivers enter overall, and there was less than a second between the top 60. So I believe in a second now we're going to pull up the results for you. We're going to work backwards from 60th to first place, and you'll see just how close. There we go. Let's go through let's go through the first bunch, guys. So these were the guys that just made it in, if you like. Mikael Ark, Matthew Angel, Alfie Gallagher, David Jarvis, Alan Smith, Megan Lawson, raced in TKM, made it through there. Daniel Belladonna also made it through. Nathan Gibbs as well. Alex Doddington. Jack Dex. I raced against Jack many years ago. Of course, Jack Dex runs his own team, JDR Racing. Good to see Jack Dex in there. Chaz, I'll hand it over to you to do the next bunch.
Yeah, no worries. We've got Jake Walker in 50th with Ryan Neve, and then Julio Scrinzi in 48th, Shane Burke in 47th with Matthew Fennell and Ben Burgess. Then we have Kieran Chidgey and Vijay Ramlal, and then Will Davis is 42nd with Bradley Beavers in 41st.
Yeah, I have to give a shout out to Will Davis. I know he'll be watching this. Darren Beavers, good to see him entering. Joe Sumner there also in. Lewis Hodson Brown, Tom Bird. You can just see how close it is. 37.9 across the board on this page. Ryan Elliott, David van der Holst, Bradley Shepherd. Oh, here we go. You left me to this one here. This is a tough one. Well, you can see we're very professional. We didn't read through all the names before we start this. Demetrius Sumanis, I'm going to guess. Demetrius, please. You're going to have to
I'll
get in
agree
touch
with
and
that.
let me know.
I'd probably go Sumani.
Okay.
Don't know.
Sumani.
Not Tsunami. Let's hope not.
Let's hope he doesn't live up to that name in the race itself. Josh Neve and Henry Wardell. So just to let you know how the groups work, guys, before we go through the next bunch. Essentially, the guys who qualified 1st, 4th, and 7th go into Group A. 2nd, 5th, and 8th downwards go into Group B, and then Group C, 3rd, 6th, and 9th. So that's kind of how the groups work. Let's get into the top 30.
Yeah, of course, the top half that have qualified in this class. We've got James Ives, Jake Walker, Jack Galt, Jack Aldis, George Palazzi, Daniel Fletcher, Robbie Rigby, Nathan Maximin, Jack Wright, and Johnny Stinson.
All right, into the top 20 now. You can see it's getting very, very close. Slawomir. Oh, here we go. Let's have a go at this. Wiscorza. Is that right? We'll get it sorted for the race itself. Archil Gorbert, Ethan Ling, Max Tad. Oh, here we go. Let's go for Ionesco Adrian, Chloe Buckley, Cameron Marston, Josh Irfan in there as well. Then we have Stefan Kessler and Alex Tyler. So only 0.3 from when we were down, sort of 60th down here, 36.6. If you were quicker than that, you're into the top 10, Chaz.
Yeah, indeed. It's so, so close. Obviously, we're not even just going to thousandths of a second here. We're going to 10 thousandths of a second. It's that close all the way through. Shout out to Max Tad as well, by the way. He was in the VMO SRTC UK
Yeah.
event the other day, racing against touring car drivers with me. So funny. We had such a laugh on track. And hopefully, if he approaches this with the same enthusiasm that he did with that touring car event, he's going to be absolutely flying around here. Into the top 10 then, like you say, William Chadwick, 10th place. Sam Spinell in 9th with Ty Stansfield in 8th. Sam Gornall, not sure if he's related to James or not, in 7th. Harrison Crook in 6th with Blake Checketts in 5th. Ben Hinchley in 4th. Brandon Williams 3rd. Max Herbert in 2nd. And Kieran Shanks, the top qualifier in that class, doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, Sam Gornall, definitely a name recognised, so brilliant to see him in there. Ben Hinchley as well was a very, very quick driver back when he raced in Junior Max and things like that. Ben Hinchley's gone on to do some pretty good things from there as well. Brandon Williams, always been very quick, raced in cadet classes, and since then has raced more in sort of club level stuff as well. Arrive and Drive is really where Brandon Williams races these days. Max Herbert, Kieran Shanks as well. So as I say, this is the fantastic things. We got those Arrive and Drive guys that are coming out of, not racing and karting anymore for whatever reason, perhaps have moved on to do other things or have just put a stop to the karting. This is their chance to come back and all race against each other. So Ty Stansford, again, I believe he does Arrive and Drive racing. Brilliant stuff. How close was it? I've got to say, Kieran Shanks, what a lap time there. 37.2, 2/10 quicker than the rest of the field. It's going to be very, very tough to beat. But less than a second between the top 60. I just want to give a shout out, by the way, to the guys who just missed out, who are listed as the reserve. So we have Alexander Van der Vold, Jack Bird, Oscar Pedersen, and Alpha Live employee Harry Buck. Is cameraman for Alpha Live, Harry Buck. I raced him as well back in the day at Wilton Mill. So Harry Buck, you only just missed out, my friend, by, let's see, I'd say 700ths of a second. I think that is 7,000ths perhaps. So unfortunately those guys just missing out. I think it was 1,000th of a second between 60th and 61st. How gutting must that be after 4 days to just miss out? But we're going to have a championship coming up. So those guys, I'm sure, will get another chance. But that's... as I say, I think that class lives up to his name. Very open.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's a fantastic range of people in there. And of course, with them being so close as well, and it comes back to what I said before about the physical disadvantages, of course. I know that some people may not have already done karting before. Some people are just good in the sim, but they just think, give it a go. Why not? You've got nothing to lose by trying to qualify for these things. So you've got to get on with it. At the end of the day, I think it was Michael Jordan once said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So you've got to take them, haven't you?
That's it. And just to remind you how the groups work, 1st, 4th, 7th downwards go into Group A, 2nd, 5th, 8th into Group B, 3rd, 6th and 9th into Group C. The groups will be posted in full online, so do look out for those. But there we go. That is the open class done. I believe next we are going to go into the under-12s. The open class will use the Senior X30. They were for 12 and over. Thanks to all 129 drivers who entered that. Very, very close across the board. So why don't we pull up our under-12 class? You had to have a Motorsport UK license to be able to compete in this. 39 drivers overall entered. They've all gone through, and there was around 3 seconds between the field. So let's start from 39th to 31st. We have Poppy Thomas, Addison Smith, Leon Barlow, Oliver Harrison, Cole Denham. Then we have Dale Toussaint, Adam Bourne, Ewan Thompson, Oliver Kerr. So they were 39th to 31st.
And then going into the top 30, then we have Michael Walker, Noah Baglin, Max Haller, and Thomas Carter in 27th. Ashton Wiggins is 26th with Jake Humphrey. I don't think it's the ITV presenter. Archie Heron is 24th with Ollie Poole 23rd. Zachary Eli in 22nd, and Kira Harris just outside the top 20 in 21st place.
And into the top 20 then, these were the guys I'm sure that will be looking to qualify straight through from the semis. Benjamin Bartlett, Jack West, Tommy Harfield, Chase Fernandez, Kenzo, how we go? Craigie?
Yeah.
Craigie? We'll find out the exact pronunciation. Joshua Graham, Eli Badin, Noah Wolf, William Murphy, and then Riley Bishop.
He's making sure he didn't spell his surname wrong, putting it in capitals. Nathan Ty is in 10th place with Owen Neve in 9th. Then it's Jacob Ashcroft in 8th. Blake Ticehurst in 7th with Riley Wright and David Vischer ahead of him. Jensen Graham just inside the top 5 with Henry Jocelyn. Daniel Amor and Heidi Mimasi is top of the standings with a 46.375. Very good lap time indeed.
Yeah. Some recognisable names from the an IME cadet class in their Honda cadets as well. So yeah, that's going to be another close one. I'd say for under 12s, they all went through. So I'd say there's going to be some of them that have done considerably a less amount of practice than some of the others. So I think by the time we see those guys, which is going to be Monday, class will be Tuesday. But when we see those guys Monday, Chaz, I think it's going to be a lot closer. And you can see just looking through the top 10 there, less than 2/10 between the top 10. It's going to be extremely close. The way the group's going to work in the under 12s, odds and evens, essentially. The odd numbers will go into Group A, the even numbers are going to go into Group B, and then the 9 from each semi-final will go through, and then 2 drivers with the fastest laps. Before we go into the final class, just want to talk about that format, Chaz. Having that fastest lap in there, I think is a very good idea, isn't it? Because if you get wiped out at turn number 1, then it's worth to keep on going, because if you can set a fastest lap, then you'll be pulled through as a wild card into the final.
Yeah, of course. It's good to show that people with the pace deserving to get through can still get that chance if they don't get the position. But you've got to think about the fact that if some of these guys are trying to go for the fastest lap, but they're still stuck in traffic, they've maybe got half a chance of still getting through if they're just inside the top 10, they're really going to be stuck in the traffic and don't have all the clear air that they might want to then go and set said fastest lap time as well. So I think it's going to be quite interesting to see whether we see those come through from the middle of the field, or whether, like you say, it's people that have had an incident and been further down the order right near the back, and they've got the fresh air to breathe and get on with it and get a lap time in. But it's going to be very, very good to see if there's any correlation between position and fastest lap time for those that come through because of that.
And if you have a sponsor, please don't rage quit, because we all know what happened to a certain NASCAR driver when he decided to quit recently. Okay, let's go into the Motorsport UK class. A reminder that the way the semi-final is going to work, 8-minute qualifying and then a 15-lap race, and it's going to be very similar for the finals as well. So let's go through the Motorsport UK class. License holders for these only 12 and over, 136 drivers set lap times in this. Less than a second between the top 60 who have qualified, and here they are. So Megan Lawson just sneaking through in 60th there, Jack Wright, Dan Kell, Ted Bradbury, Bradley Smith, Sam Heading, who's recently moved out the cadet classes into Mini X30, I believe, at the moment, Masej Hamera, Harvey Jones, Reese Newburn, Alex Dollington. So before we go into the top 50 there, Chaz, I think we're going to see a few correlations here from the Open with some guys who have decided to do the Open and then have come into the Motorsport UK class as well to try and have 2 stabs at it.
Yeah, well, why not? I mean, if you qualify for it, then you may as well do it. Max Tadder noticed in there previously as well. Dan Kell was another one that was in the VMO event last week. He was also having a good laugh with us, very quick as well. I think he was the only driver actually in the Ford Focus when we were racing in that. So strange choice, but it didn't break down, so it's all right. Ryan Eschberg is 50th with Brandon Hagen 49th. Michael Mueller in 48th with Bradley Beavers in 47th. Alex Holgate, not Alice. Tom Bird, and then Alex Hughes. Ryan Michelef, and then Ethan Marr and Ben Burgess. Apologies there, Alex. Sorry about that, mate.
Yeah, good to see Ben Burgess, X30 racer in there. Ben Casely as well. David Stephen, 39th. Vijay Ramlal in 38th. Ryan Luscombe, 37th. And we have Tommy Edmonds, Ewan Charman, Ethan Ling, Kieran Chidsey. And then we have JP Sleater as well. And Jake Almas. Oh, this is... I have to help finish it. Jake Almasawi. I'm going to go for
Almasawi.
Jake Almasawi.
Yeah, I'll go with Almasawi.
We'll, again, please get in touch if I've said your name.
If you want to send any complaint letters in, then it's this guy. Send them to this guy. Harley Horton is 30th with William Chadwick in 29th, behind Dan Burgess, Jack Goring, and Lucas Romanek. Anwar Beryl Smith as well, who I've done a lot of sim racing with, is in 25th place. He's a top bloke. He is indeed. Really funny guy as well. Alex Tyler, 24th. Fionn McLaughlin in 23rd. Nathan Clifford, 22nd. And Ty Stansfield, 21st.
Right, top 20 then, let's get into it. We've got Johnny Knight, Chris Gristwood, Daniel Kell, Josh Irfan, who's qualified in the open class as well. Josh Irfan, who races over in the FI Karting Championships at the moment with Ricky Flynn. Sammy Venables, good to see him in there. Sammy Venables, if he's not karting, he's flying planes. Joel Oswick, Louis Harvey, Theo Mikuris, Mini X30 racer in there. Harrison Crook and Lewis Bickers. In fact, I think Theo's just gone up to juniors, so but good to see him in there.
Yeah, smashing grid
Top
so
10.
far. And then, of course, top 10, the real big hitters in this class then. We have Sam Gornall in 10th, Connor Glifford in 9th, Bryn Collins 8th with Daniel Brewer just ahead, Harry Cottrell in 6th place, Brandon Williams in 5th, Vishal Patel in 4th, just outside the top 3. And then we have Matty Hingley, Marcus Littlewood and Joe Fowler. Take a bow, son. Those two nearly actually 2 tenths quicker than everybody else as well. So a real difference actually at the top. It's quite surprising to see how much further some of these top guys are ahead of just people in the top 10.
Yeah, Joe Fowler, very quick driver, very quick when he raced in TKM, likewise now in X30. Really impressive grid that. Good to see some guys, as we said before, in the open as well as Motorsport UK class. As we said, Chaz, before we read out the names there, congratulations to all those drivers who have qualified. As I said, if you haven't qualified, do come back for the championship as well. But thank you for taking part on behalf of everyone. But it's going to be good to see. We saw Amwell Beryl-Smith there, mostly races in Club 100. We'll take him as an example. He's going to be racing against the likes of Joe Fowler, who's done British Championships for a few years now. And then we've got Josh Irfan, who races, in the FIA Karting Championships with Ricky Flynn, who Lando Norris raced with back in the day. So to have all three of those guys sort of racing against each other, that's going to be really, really good to see.
Yeah, it's great to see how people like that can sort of measure up against each other. Not that Anwar Beryl-Smith will be doing a measuring; he's about 4'3". But it's going to be great to see how on track, sort of like their different mindsets from different championships they've competed in before, what they expect from the drivers around them, and just how they approach it in general. To be honest with you, because they could go for an aggressive approach, they could really push for it, or they could, like I say, play some of those mind games that I mentioned earlier, where you hang back behind somebody, wait till the very end, or just try and pressure them into a mistake. It's going to be great to watch, and I think that's going to just add to the racing even more. It's that extra bit of spice that, kart racing's exciting already, but when we get these extra sort of differences between all the drivers in there and just throw them into one big pot, it's going to be amazing to watch. Really can't wait.
It's going to be fantastic. Just to let you know, some of the prizes, a couple of prizes have already been announced. A lot of the others will be announced very shortly. So the winners from each class are going to be invited to the Motorsport UK Awards evening. Date for that and location to be announced. And they're also going to receive the pro version of kartsim. So a fantastic prize there. I believe more prizes will be announced shortly. As I said, Monday we will have the Motorsport UK class and under 12 class, the semi-finals for them. Open class for the semi-finals will be on Tuesday, and then the finals on Thursday. I believe we're live around 7:30. I'll be corrected if we have a time for that in just a second. I'm sure I didn't actually have that written down, so I'm sure the guys will correct me if I'm wrong there. GYG for the semi-finals. PF5 for the finals. It is 7:15, so
Yep.
I have been corrected there. So got to get ready a little bit earlier than I thought. Cadets are in the rentals. Senior, the others are in the senior X30 class. So as we said, semi-final, 8-minute qualifying, 15-lap race for that, and I believe it's the same for the finals as well. So there we go, Chaz. It's going to be fantastic, isn't it? In the semi-finals, split into 3 groups, except for the under 12s. Top 6 go through in each race. And then, of course, 2 wildcards as well, except for the under 12s, top 9 in each race.
Yeah.
And then the top 2 go through, and then a final. It's just a shootout, basically. First one to the line wins.
Yeah, it's a very, very good format as well. It gives everybody a decent chance at getting in. As you often get in karting, the formats in a lot of these races really do make sure that the best rise to the top, and hopefully we're going to see that over the course of the evening, get some fantastic racing in as well. I can't wait to get on with it, to be honest with you. I've not done a lot of karting commentary before I did the Bookmore Park 24-hour. So to do it on a virtual level as well, when obviously I've done sim racing commentary before, but not with karting. So it's going to be a great mix for me. I can't wait to do it, and should be an exciting show, I'm very sure.
Well, I think this show has proved I need all the help I can get. So, so yeah, I'm glad to have you. I'm glad to have you along with us for this. We're going to be live Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, showing all of them. I think from us that's about it. Chaz, you got much planned for the Easter weekend? Weather looks like it's going to be amazing. So, what have you got planned?
To be
Of
honest,
course, staying at home, but
well, yeah, it's what I'm good at. To be honest with you, I won't lie. I sit in this chair, sit at my desk, and do nothing. But I'm going to be I'm commentating this evening. I've got a broadcast this evening doing a Le Mans race, 2.4 hours of Le Mans. But other than that, I'm just going to sit in, do my stuff, and just be me. I suppose. What about you?
yeah, same as always. I guess
Just
there we
not
go.
being me, being you.
Practice, yeah, not being you. I've tried that before. It doesn't really work. Yeah, I believe from us that's it now, guys. Have a brilliant Easter weekend. Of course, very difficult times for all of us at the moment. It's very strange times, but enjoy it as much as you can. Enjoy the break from staying at home and not being at the track. Do remember, please stay safe, stay at home, guys. And we'll be back on Monday at 7:15 for the first night of semi-finals, where we'll see the Motorsport UK class and the under 12 class. So make sure you join us then. But until then, guys, it's goodbye from all of us.